Take a look over there on the left, you see our beautiful sunset. If you look at this canal over here on the right, you see a big blue boat right here on the corner. Right behind there's another big boat, a white one. The house behind that boat belongs to Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan's right-hand man, Chicago Bulls. Anybody like hamburgers? No? Okay, I want to tell you about Wendy's house, that gray one right there. Her real name is Winona. That gray house right there. This yellow one coming up on the corner right next to Wendy's house, affectionately known as the Silicone Villa. That guy's a local plastic surgeon. He's been improving the wildlife in Fort Lauderdale for like 16 years now. Conditioning. It's a single-family home. Only a husband and a wife live there. And we're told they see each other about once every 3.5 weeks. There's even more of the property behind that big white yacht. I shouldn't say big, because that's a little white yacht. They have 2 other yachts that are too big to fit behind the house. All paid for by sunglasses. The Van Aldmans. Yacht right here on the left, right up against this house here, was used in the movie Donnie Brasco. Al Pacino and Johnny Depp. If everybody seen the movie, that boat was called the Left Hand in the movie. Federal boat. Local attorney owns the house right here on the right. Deals in foreclosures, bankruptcies. Got an $11 million yacht parked on the side of the house. Zoo Health Club franchise. Look at all the windows in the back of that house. You'll notice there's no blinds or drapes in any of those windows. You ride the water taxi a little later tonight. The best shows are 9:45 and 11:15. Michael Mann, the executive producer of Miami Vice, owns this house right here on the right, this white one. That is a 1-bedroom bachelor pad. They use that house in 7 series episodes of the Miami Vice series. It was always the bad guy's house. There with the gazebo on the corner in the movie Where the Boys Are, Connie Francis and George Hamilton, movie that brought spring break to Fort Lauderdale. They also used that house in some scenes for Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy, the first one. Anybody on the boat from Fort Lauderdale? Maybe you can help me out. If you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? Maroney. Mike Maroney's house is right here on the left. The bushes on the fence. He is the General Motors' largest customer. Look across the water on the other direction, you see the White House, got 1 palm tree right on the corner, and you can look closer and see an F on the 2nd story. House used to belong to the Sheriff of Mayberry. Who's that?
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith. Currently it's owned by the Firestone Company, Firestone Tires. It's the only thing they own that isn't subject to recall. Right next door, the house in the center with the blue lights along the dock. Anybody have a dog, cat, hamster, or ferret, you've probably been to one of their stores. They own the pet supermarket chain. They're called the West Family. There's normally a big 108-foot yacht that sits out behind that house. The name of the yacht is the Party Girl, and it was a birthday present for their daughter on her 16th birthday. And it's out right now. She's 28 years old now. She just graduated high school. We're real proud of her. Next to the West Home, the long white roof, used to belong to Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Currently it's owned by the heirs to the Oscar Mayer fortune. Next to the West Home, long white roof. This boat right here, the New Vita, used to belong to Jim Moran, the courtesy man, used car salesman out of Chicago, the first guy to import the Toyota into the Americas. Convinced Toyota, if they want to sell some cars, come out with a luxury model, so they came up with Lexus. He has 7 of those boats. That's the small one. He actually passed away 2 years ago. All his boats named the Gallant Lady after his late wife. So you got right here the Lohengrin. Lohengrin apparently is a German opera set on the Rhine River. So I know about that boat. This is Bahia Mar, the largest marina in Fort Lauderdale. third largest in the state. Going every year to the world's largest in-the-water boat show. Held at the end of every October. See this house over here on the left in the neighborhood called Idlewild. This is bedrooms, 22 bathrooms, 9-car parking garage underneath the home. And you see those little towers on top, those are elevator shafts. There's a swimming pool and a hot tub up on the roof. That house sits in a neighborhood called Idlewild. Like I said, that's the first community on the water in Fort Lauderdale. Before it was the community called Idlewild, that was the site of the first airport in Fort Lauderdale. Anybody ever heard of a story called Flight 19? Flight 19 is a story about a squadron of Navy Avengers who took off out of this airport many years ago, back when the planes would start at that condo above the church, on a routine training mission over the Atlantic Ocean, and found themselves in the Bermuda Triangle. They were lost in the Bermuda Triangle, never heard or seen from again. Sent a whole bunch of search planes out to look for them, and they all disappeared out there in the Bermuda Triangle also. You can Google it on the internet, read all about it. It's called Flight 19. Flight 19 is the story that started the myth about the Bermuda Triangle. No, I say myth because I sent my mother-in-law on 3 cruises into the Bermuda Triangle, and she comes back every time. What's next? Enterprise, that blue-hulled yacht we passed a second ago on the left side of the boat behind us, that's the top of the pyramid for Amway. Back in 1926. If you look directly in front of us, you'll see that big building on top of the rooftops, on top of the trees, got a red light right on the top. That's Hyatt Regency Pier 66. Everybody see it? That place was built by John Phillips of the Phillips 66 Petroleum Company. Mr. Phillips was a young wildcat oil driller who drilled 65 holes, came up with nothing. On his 66th hole, he hit a gusher out in Oklahoma, still pumping oil today, and it made him a multi-billionaire almost overnight. Now take a look at that place, because he went a little crazy with the number 6. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but that building's got 6 sides to it, and there's got 66 windows on each side. There's 366 rooms, and the express elevator takes 66 seconds to go from the lobby up to the revolving lounge. The revolving lounge, that UFO-looking thing on top, takes 66 minutes to do a full revolution. On top of the lounge, you'll see 66 spires. Each one's at a 66-degree angle. The drinks in the lounge were $6.66 at one point. Phone number ends in 6666. Mr. Phillips died in 1966. Anybody guess how old he was? No, he was 72. Thanks for playing the You Can't Win game. It's not a perfect world after all. Had to end somewhere. 66 plus 6 for you diehards. Two-story greenhouse right on the left-hand side over here next to the LA Fitness House. Johnny Weissmuller used to live there. He was one of the original Tarzan Olympic 5-time gold medalist. Yellow house on the right, $3 million. Who said that's cheap? I'm talking about this little yellow house right here, $3 million.
Is that the one with the roof retracts?
I'll show you that one. You see the skyline of downtown Fort Lauderdale in front of us. Los Olas Shopping District, 2nd Street bars. Los Olas Riverfront. This house right here on the right used to belong to the poor little rich girl. Anybody remember her? Gloria Vanderbilt. Anybody ever heard of her? Her son used to frolic around the yard out. Anderson Cooper, 360, CNN news anchor. Poor little rich girl's son. See this house right here on the right, no lights on, but it's got faded green awnings. If you look a little past the house, you'll see a small building, matches the house, rounded, it's got wood and glass doors. What that little building is a $300,000 indoor air-conditioned barbecue pit, all controlled electronically by computers.
The ultimate grill.
Take a look in front of us on the right, you see this White House with the lights down on the bottom, 6 columns. That's the Otis elevator house. You see those doors you see right in the center, those are the original Otis elevator doors from their first elevator. Mr. and Mrs. Otis lived there. They had a pretty rocky relationship, though, a lot of ups and downs. They ended up getting a divorce. Split everything 50-50 right down the middle. Mrs. Otis got every single Otis elevator. What did Mr. Otis get? Oh, he got the shaft. It's a true story. Rene Lacoste home right here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's an alligator, the same alligator you see on the Izod shirts. Izod Sportswear, Rene Lacoste. If you guys ever wanted to see what you look like on the water, here you go. I think you guys look a lot better. On the right, you see this house with the palm trees lit up, and there's a little tile dock hanging out over the cornerstone seawall. Anybody have a Kohl's department stores where they're from? Well, that's John Kohl's house, the founder. Two lots here also belong to Mr. Kohl, and as you come a little further along, you look behind the trees, there's a big 2-story house also belongs to Mr. Kohl. Those empty 2 lots were $22 million. This is the area we call Wayne's World. A lot of houses around here have to do with our resident billionaire, Wayne Huizenga. See this yellow house right here? That is his daughter Pamela's house. Demi Moore and Bruce Willis rented that house out for $6,000 a week while they were down here filming the movie Striptease. It's kind of hard to see at night, but that seawall has a lot of damage to it. She had a no tanline clause in her contract, and she'd be out here almost every day sunbathing in the nude. And the water taxis would make one stop out here. They'd anchor up all day long. Those are the good old days. Ask the captain, he was here. This house right here is his nephew's house. Wayne Huizenga's nephew, his name is Steven, used to run Blockbuster Video for Wayne Huizenga. This house right here with the slanted roof, founders of Johnson Outboard Motors. This house right here, up until about a month ago, belonged to Wayne Huizenga. This was his full-time residence. Just sold for $25 million. He owns half the peninsula, owned half the peninsula, just sold. That's a historic home that you can't tear down. Survived a hurricane in the mid-1920s. But he doesn't live, Wayne Huizenga doesn't live in any of the houses down here, even though they have a lot to do with them. He owns them all. He lives on a private island and lives locally. Auto Nation. He owns half of the town. There's a fish tank over there. The next property I'll show you is starting right here on the left. See this yellowish color building with the lights on down below? That's a 2-story with the small green building with 4 white lights on and a wooden door, and it's going to wrap all the way around the corner. 7 individual homes that have all been put together to form one long mansion. This place is owned by the owner of the Miami Dolphins. Who's that? Wayne Huizenga. See the statue of the Dolphins right next to the bushes right there? Kind of hard to see. Wayne spent $1.5 million for that gazebo to be installed in the deep end of the swimming pool. If you follow the spiral staircase up behind it, you'll be in the hot tub. And on top is an electric carillon, plays 1,000 different songs, all controlled electronically by computers. Decorated in 22-karat inlaid gold. Now you can see a bigger fish tank right here in the window. See that fish tank right there? 4,500 gallons. It goes from the bottom of the first floor all the way up to the roof on the second floor. So big, they send a diver in to have it cleaned. Wayne Huizenga.